So you're thinking about moving to Seattle, Washington, and you are considering the suburb of Sammamish, Washington, but you're not really sure if this would be the neighborhood for your family. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be outlining the considerations that you should take if you're thinking about moving out east of Seattle, Washington. Why would people pay so dang much to live out here? Well, in today's video, we're going to find that out. If you're new to this channel, hi, I am Kelsey Anderson, and I am a local realtor who's lived in the Seattle area for over 35 years. And I like to make content about the areas, particularly to the east of Seattle, so that if you are from an area outside of Seattle and you want to know more about what it would be like to move here and buy a home, then get in touch with me using the information in the description below. I would love to meet with you, hop on a Zoom call or chat, get to know you and or your family so I can learn about what you are trying to find in your next home. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So today we're gonna tackle this pros and cons video a little bit differently than I normally do. So we're gonna go back and forth between the pro and the con, just kind of like we're having a conversation so you can get to know why people would definitely hesitate a little bit with the home prices in Sammamish, but also see just it for its natural beauty on the east side of Seattle. So let's get right into it. If you don't know much about Sammamish, Washington, I wanna first tell you that it's located about 25 to 30 minutes east of Seattle. It's sandwiched between Redmond to the north and Issaquah to the south. It sits right on the east side of beautiful Lake Sammamish, which is just 10 miles to the east of downtown Seattle, Washington. This small suburb has about 67,000 people, and it was incorporated into its own city in 1999. So maybe that's why you haven't heard of it, but it used to be a part of Issaquah. When I was growing up here, it was definitely just part of Issaquah, and now it's its own residential town of its own. The median home price in Washington is $1.4 million. And many of the homes are going to be well over that. So that does include, the condos that are there as well. But niche.com gives this beautiful suburb an A+ rating, recognizing it for its incredible schools, its health and fitness, its incredible outdoor spaces and activities. And it also gets a few awards. So niche.com rates it number 3 in all of Washington in suburbs to raise a family. And it's rated number 6 for best public schools in Washington. Seems like a great time to dive into our first pro, which is just the natural beauty in Sammamish. So like a lot of my other suburbs, and if you want to check out other videos, you should definitely check out Redmond and Issaquah, which is really close to Sammamish and offers the same natural beauty. Sammamish is located right in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, and there are green spaces and golf courses and lakes throughout this entire suburb. There's really great parks, places for families to hop on trails and just kind of have a little bit more of a quiet life amongst this just beautifully green, scenic background characteristic of the Pacific Northwest. It's located up on a plateau. When we were growing up, it was just called the Plateau, part of Issaquah. And so from this plateau, you just have beautiful mountain views from many of the homes and neighborhoods, and then also fantastic views of Lake Sammamish. A lot of residents actually live right on this beautiful 7-mile lake. The first con of living in Sammamish, Washington is definitely the cost of living. So as I stated, the median home price here is about $1.4 million. But honestly, most 3 and 4 bedroom houses are going to be over $2 million for a single family home. If you're right along the water, you can see on the map that the homes are going to be around $3 million at the least. And then as you kind of go up the plateau, kind of up the hill a little bit, the prices are going to be more around $2 million. But all the neighborhoods are really upscale looking. When you just drive through the neighborhoods, you kind of just get that feel of safety and a little bit of wealth, which can be perfect for residents in the tech field. A lot of families in this area have tech jobs over in Bellevue and Redmond and Seattle. And so this is kind of that quaint, kind of upscale suburb that they love to go back to at the end of the day. The average household income is $200,000. So I think that's more than any of the other suburbs I have covered thus far in the Seattle area. The median home price for just condos is $700,000. And if you want to rent a home or a place here, it's going to be at least $2,300, and that's probably estimating it on the low side. You'll also definitely need a car and plenty of gas money, because in order to get to entertainment and a lot of the tech jobs I just mentioned, you're going to need to travel 15 to 30 minutes plus to get into those professions and places of recreation. Bestplaces.net gives a cost of living index of 158, which means it's 58% higher than the national average as far as cost of living. So things like healthcare and taxes and transportation, as well as housing, food, and childcare, are just gonna cost you more living in the city of Sammamish. So my guess is Sammamish might not be the place for your starter home unless you hit the life jackpot and you have a lot of money. It's gonna be more for homes, second or third homes for families that have built a little bit of equity over time. The second pro of living in Sammamish, Washington is the incredible school district and school system in general. So there are 2 districts that serve residents in Sammamish, Washington. The top half of the city is a part of the Lake Washington School District. So these folks will feed into that district. And then on the southern side, literally halfway down, kids will be going to the Issaquah School District. The good thing is both of these districts are super highly rated. Niche.com gives an A+ rating for both of these schools. And they stand out in academics, teachers, and college prep. Now, kids here aren't only going to these incredible public schools. A lot of families also opt for private school education, and there are 4 private schools located right in the city of Sammamish. So very popular Eastside Catholic, which I believe serves kids from 6th to 12th grade, and then Bear Creek School, which is just north in Redmond, is really close by, mixed with some other private schools right in Sammamish. And also Central Washington University has a campus right in Sammamish along that drive that splits down the city in the middle, 228. So that's where you have Eastlake High School and as well Skyline High School, which are those 2 schools right in Sammamish. 2 high schools, I should say. Jumping over to the second con of living in Sammamish, Washington is the traffic. So because you're a little bit more of a suburban area in Sammamish, you're not as kind of urban suburban like Bellevue and Kirkland, you are gonna have to travel a little bit to get to the freeways. Now, we're not talking about rural Washington. You don't have to go that far to the freeway, but it is 10 to 15 minutes to get to the freeway depending on where you're located in the city. So to get to those major highways like I-90, which runs east to west south of Sammamish, and then 520, which runs east to west on the north side, both of I-90 and 520 take you east into Seattle, and also connecting over to 405 if you have to go north to work in Kirkland or even Woodinville or up to Everett, you have to hop onto 405. So those are some big freeways that you're going to have to take 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 10 to 20 minutes to get to. So depending on when you're traveling, but if it's peak times, rush hour times, it is going to take you a little bit longer to get out of the side road. So the main drag, which is 228th Avenue, if you check out my map video, you can get to know kind of where all these things are laid out. But 228th Avenue runs north to south and kind of splits the city in half. That can get backed up during peak hours. And then Inglewood Road is a street that runs east to west on the north side, and that can get backed up during school hours. And the last thing is Highway 202, which sort of runs on the north side and then down on the east side, connecting down to I-90. Kind of if you want to connect out to the, the slopes, the Snoqualmie, or go to North Bend. 202 can also get a little bit slower during those peak hours. But again, you're kind of having to take connecting roads and highways to get to the larger highways and places for business and other fun that's not located right in Sammamish. So traffic is definitely a little bit of a con of living in this town of Sammamish. The third pro is safety and quality of life. I've touched on this a little bit, but Sammamish, Washington just feels so safe. The crime rate is really low. It's full of families and adults, working professionals. There are not, city transit doesn't have a big presence here in Sammamish. So you're not going to have a bunch of city bums kind of getting off the bus, getting off the light rail. The light rail does not come to Sammamish. I don't think it ever has plans to come to Sammamish. And so you kind of just get that more quaint, quieter feel. But there's also just an incredible quality of life outside of the safety aspect of living in Sammamish. So with parks and green spaces and lakes throughout this entire community, as well as just residential neighborhoods that they do require usually an HOA to kind of keep all the neighbors in line as far as, taking care of and manicuring their yards. But it pays off because you just drive through these neighborhoods and you just feel like you're sort of amongst kind of a higher end crowd, people that are going to take care of their neighbors and their lawn, and definitely expect a higher quality out of life. So that is what you are surrounded by in this entire community. Whether you're in the more upscale communities within Sammamish or you're not, this is just how it feels everywhere. The third con of living in Sammamish, Washington, just like a lot of my other videos, is of course just the weather. If you are used to sunny California or Arizona or Texas, this is going to be a very different climate here. So you've probably heard the rumors that we are just like super rainy and overcast. And while that is partly true, it's also partly untrue. So we actually have 150 days of sun and 150 days of rain. So as much as it's sunny here, it's also rainy here. The national average for rain is 38 inches and we're only sitting at 44 inches. So we don't get that much rain, but because we don't have these torrential downpours, we do have sort of just drizzly days and a lot of gray days. So we actually have over 220 gray days on average over the course of the year. And that's probably the biggest bummer of the weather here, is that, starting from usually in November all the way through February, sometimes parts of March, it's just kind of gray. It can be kind of drizzly. You do have days of sun sprinkled in, but without the beautiful deciduous trees with leaves and flowers blooming, it can get a little bit sad. You might have to go on vacation. You might have to get kind of a happy light, fill your body with vitamin D, and get that kind of sunshine elsewhere, because it is a little bit of a downside. Now, the cool thing is we don't have any of those crazy storms. And so I feel very thankful to actually live in the Seattle area, because we don't have wildfires like the other side of the mountains or California. We don't have any droughts with that. So we never have to limit our shower time. We don't have any big nasty bugs. We're not worried about hurricanes or tornadoes and things like that. So I honestly think that's a huge reason that we are getting so many people moving to the Seattle area, because we just don't have that extreme weather. We actually have a pretty good weather system. It's just for about half of the year. So you definitely really appreciate that good weather. If you live here, you don't take sunny days for granted. Honestly, from April all the way through October, we have pretty good weather. We got a lot of sunshine, a lot of blue skies, way more days in the 90s in the summer. If you like that heat, we've got a lot more heated, hot days. Most residents actually have AC now. That used to not be the case back in the 90s when I was growing up. And so it's definitely changing around here, but it's still very comfortable and moderately warm, a little drizzly, a little gray, but for a lot of the year, it's really beautiful. The fourth pro of living in Sammamish, Washington is the proximity to fun and recreation. So not everything is located in this small residential town of Sammamish, which we'll get to soon, but there's just a lot of fun really close by. So in towns just to the north, like Redmond and Kirkland, you've got an incredible amount of public golf courses. You've got lots of shopping. You've got lots of kind of downtown, more downtown sort of the festival community feel, like where festivals and events, things like that, in both Redmond and Kirkland. You've got a beautiful downtown area in Kirkland, just about 15 minutes away, especially if you're living on the north side of Sammamish. That's super cool. You've got to check out my video on Kirkland if you haven't seen it, because Kirkland is it's a really close by suburb with lots of entertainment. You got Top Golf, lots of bars and restaurants over there, and that's super close by. You also have the Woodinville Wineries just about 15 minutes north of Sammamish. So you can take, I think it's 202 will take you up north to the Woodinville Winery. So that's super close. You've got beautiful Marymoor Park. You've got Lake Sammamish right there, not to mention the two beautiful lakes in the city of Sammamish, like Pine Lake and Beaver Lake. You've got also places for outdoor concerts within 10 minutes, both at Marymore and at Santosh St. Michel. You've got outdoor concerts there. You also have lots of shopping in both Redmond and Issaquah to the south. And then if you are interested in Sammamish because you really want that outdoor Pacific Northwest kind of rustic vibe, those things are so close by. So within a 10-minute drive, you can hit hundreds of miles of hiking right in Issaquah. So you've got Squawk Mountain, Tiger Mountain, and Cougar Mountain, which make up, they call it the Issaquah Alps. It's the foothills of the Cascade Mountains. And so you have endless hiking. You can even camp in some place. And then if you want to hop on the road and you just want to go 20, 30 minutes to the east, you will hit North Bend, which has beautiful Snoqualmie Falls. You can float the river there, enjoy lots of fun in that little quaint city of North Bend. And then if you keep going, you can hit the slopes. So if you want to ski or snowboard or inner tube, you can do so in those winter months. At Snoqualmie, you can head a little bit southeast and get to Crystal Mountain, but you're just so close to all these things. Of course, the ocean is to the west, just about 2.5 hours out that way. So you just got lots of fun and outdoor recreation really in your back door. My final con of living in Sammamish, Washington is just the lack of shopping and entertainment located right in the city. So like I said, a lot of the fun is going to be happening south in Issaquah or north in Redmond and Kirkland. Those are the closest by towns that have really downtown events and restaurants and entertainment, public golf, just like lots of things to do. This is really going to be more of a residential town in the city proper of Sammamish. So if you want to go shopping, you got to go to Issaquah or Redmond. If you want to go to Costco, you got to go to Redmond or Issaquah. These kind of things just aren't located. So if you're looking for a date night that you want to be able to just walk down the street and, hit a bar or a restaurant with your spouse or your significant other, you really can't do that in Issaquah. So Issaquah, you'll see in my map video kind of where these things are located. But there's kind of just two main retail centers that have sort of restaurants and your grocery stores, and there's like literally a couple. We go to Big Block Brewing, which is a brewery located right in Sammamish, but most of these things are located out of the city. I think Klahani does have another little retail center. There's just not a lot of options located right in the city. So if you want that date night, you're going to have to head out of Sammamish. It's not that big of a city. It's not going to take you that far, maybe 10, 15 minutes to get to more dining options. There are some dining options that cover a pretty good amount of different food options in Sammamish, but it's not very extensive. So that's definitely a con of living in Sammamish. So that wraps up the pros and cons of living in Sammamish, Washington. I hope you got some value from this video. I don't know if I sold you on Sammamish. I definitely was just trying to present both sides. I probably would not buy a home in Sammamish just because I like to live a little bit closer to entertainment. But if you are looking for that quieter space and still be amongst the kind of green, woodsy, just beautiful, scenic, high-end community in a quieter place, this would be a great location for you. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Definitely check out some of my other videos, learn more about some more affordable areas and places that are also just closer to jobs in Bellevue, Seattle, Kirkland, things like that. So get in touch with me using the information in the description below. I would love to talk to you, even if you're not looking to move right now. Maybe you want to move in 7 months and you just want to get a feel for the areas you should be looking at. Get in contact with me. We can chat, we can set up a Zoom call, whatever is comfortable for you, so I can get to know what you are looking for in your next dream home. I had so much fun today, and definitely check out my other videos. I hope to see you around town, but if I don't, have a fantastic day.